This is Amy Poehler. My new movie, Disney and Pixar's Inside Out 2, is coming to theaters June 14th, and it's making me feel joy and sadness and anger, definitely some disgust, and I think a little fear. But I'm also feeling these new emotions like anxiety, embarrassment, envy, and ennui.
It's what you call the boredom.
Okay, that one was weird. It's gonna be the feel everything movie of the summer. Disney and Pixar's Inside Out 2, rated PG, parental guidance suggested. Only in theaters June 14th. Get tickets now.
Welcome to the RuPaul's Drag Race Recap Show for Season 16, Episode 0, titled Meet the Queens. My name is Joe Betance, and I am joined, as always, by one bloomin' onion from... I bothered you?
I like it.
From the podcast Bravo, Bravo, effing Bravo, please say good day to Mr. Nathan Patrick Brown. Let's wait for the drop. Hold on. Here he is, right here.
Hi, Joe. Sweet 16, baby.
The Sweet 16 is back again. Well, no, because they're not back. You know what's so funny is for a few years they've had 16 drag queen contestants, and this year you would think with season 16, they've had they have 14.
Well, maybe they hired two sexual assault molesters, and they had to can them.
It looks like they only hired quote unquote one. Even though I want to talk about that one. Do you know about this sexual assault thing?
I've not really engaged, so I don't know too much. I just know there was one,
and I know a little bit. This is the problem. I might know enough to be dangerous, but we can talk about that when we get to it. But here we are, season 16 of RuPaul's Drag Race, the flagship show, the one that everybody watches and engages with. Even though I will say, I was talking to somebody, and he said that he didn't think he was going to watch this show. He was just going to listen to the recap.
Wow, why?
Oh, I guess we can talk about that. I actually didn't get real thoughts. I think it's because of the cast. But we'll talk about it. But by the way, if you want to hear, there's no Just Between Us girls for this episode. But when the season happens, there will be Just Between Us girls. And you can get that over at patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia. Right now we're doing Just Between Us ghouls because we are currently in the midst of season 5 of Dragula. And that show's called Hello Uglies. But that's a show you don't watch, right? You don't watch that show, correct?
No, I don't. And every time a Dragula clip will come up on my TikTok or something, I always get spooked because I don't really love the horror, the grossness. I don't like it.
You know what's so funny is I host a show that's, second only to the Boulet Brothers' own podcast about Dragula, and I never get Dragula TikToks. You know what I was actually just telling someone today? You know what? Thank God this fucking trend ended. You know the one with the kids going turn around. Yeah, that one? I was so sick of that fucking meme, right? I haven't seen it in a week or two, so thank God. But now I can't with the I'm from Wollongong. We're going to have a big dick, but then our boyfriends will fall and break our thumbs. That thing going around. I can't do that. I hate it. I hate that trend.
Yeah.
You and I had a private conversation where I said I was going to do one where I said, I'm Lori, but but couldn't remember what all the Lori ones were that we came up with. I'm Lori. I'm going to litter, and then when someone confronts it, I'm going to tell them to go fuck themselves and die,
Yeah. I'm Lori. I'm going to pour dirty water into a bottle at a restaurant because I'm an adult.
Yeah. I'm Lori. I'm going to shit my chonies and then wash them in the sink and then put them back on.
I'm Lori. I'm going to call the cops on someone driving because they cut me off.
Yeah. I'm Lori. I'm going to chase my girlfriend around the apartment with a pair of scissors.
We could go all day.
Yeah, we could go all day, all day. All right, let's just jump. Well, anyway, go to patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia. You can also go to the Apple Podcast and subscribe there. And you get Just Between Us Girls and all kinds of exciting things coming this way because now you can sell digital products on Patreon. And that's going to be. And so if you didn't hear on Hello Uglies, Lori had a confrontation with Joost van der Leeuwen from the Drag Podcast Federation. Now, that was only for Just Between Us Girls. And for those of you who don't want to join Patreon, don't want to subscribe to anything, but you still want to hear that, you can go to patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia and just buy that one episode for $2.99.
Well, worth it.
Well worth it. You heard it, right, Nathan?
I was on it.
Oh, that's right. You were there. I forgot. Well, I'm so used to Hello Ugly just being me and Lori, but you were there that day.
I was there.
All right. This week, 16 queens tell us that they're America's next drag superstar because they have the charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent to go all the way. And if a queen comes for her, they better watch out because she can be kind like a kitten, but when she feels attacks, that's when the claws come out. Nathan Patrick Brown, what's your overall impression of this cast, a season 16 cast, these 14 girls?
I think there's a couple of stinkers, but there's also a few that I think I'm going to really enjoy. I'm just trying not to, I know I just called them stinkers, but I'm trying not to be too critical, and I'm just going to watch the show. It is what it is. It's season 16. I don't know if we're going to get a Sasha Colby or like some of these like really outstanding queens at this far along in the game. I'm not too sure.
Well, and Sasha Colby she was so famous when I saw her. I'm like, well,
yeah, she won.
So maybe it's a good thing there's no Sasha Colby because I can't tell you who it is, you know?
Yeah, same.
But I'll be honest with you. I was a little underwhelmed by this cast.
Mm-hmm.
No one stuck out to me. There were a couple who are like, okay, well, they're okay. And there were quite a few who I was like, ugh.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, ugh, right? And I was telling somebody about how in the old days as a show, we made a little rule that you couldn't, or one couldn't, a host could not compare a drag queen to a former contestant. So you couldn't say she's this season's Peppermint or she's this season's Valentina. And I'm not saying this is true for every girl, but there are quite a few girls where you're like, they clearly are going for somebody. They're truly trying to remind you of a former cast member with this.
Yeah. I think Plasma was doing Jinx Monsoon cosplay.
Okay. I was thinking that Geneva Carr they were really like trying to remind you of Mistress. They were really trying to remind you of Mistress Isabel Brooks.
Oh, yeah. And I also thought a mandatory meeting gave me Lucy DeLuca PTSD. As soon as I saw her, I was like, oh, not again. There's another Antichrist.
Yeah. And Megami was really giving me Jackie Onassis. Not Jacqueline Kennedy. Jackie Onassis. Particularly 1969.
I see that. Yeah.
Yeah. I was also thinking that Mirage was giving me former Israeli Prime Minister Golda Meir.
Yeah, I guess.
And I was like, this is this season's Golda Meir.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So is that rule still in effect, even though we just did a string of them?
Yeah, and look, this is also embarrassing. A mandatory meeting, okay, was giving me former Congresswoman Bella Abzug. And I was like, oh, there she is. This season's Bella Abzug.
Yeah. Every season has one.
Every season has a Bella Abzug. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, do you want to do the obscure Australian references, Nathan?
Yeah, Tsunami. Wait, no. Tsunami Moose was giving me Chappelle Corby.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. And Maya Emaine LePage was giving me the baby that got ate by the dingo.
Oh, yes. Which I hear in Australia is very offensive.
Yeah, well.
Did you know that in the Netherlands, it's very, like, they will fucking cuss all the fuck you, this, cunt this, all that, right? But if you say cancer, they get like really, really offended.
Oh.
Yeah. So somebody from the Netherlands was really bugging the shit out of me. And I got really close to saying, well, I did actually mention cancer. And I thought that would really upset him. And he goes, that doesn't bother me.
Oh, okay.
This is probably getting cut out of the show.
Yeah, Nymphia Wind gives me cancer. She's this season's cancer.
Oh, God. Well, if you're in the Netherlands, we have a complaint line officially for this. It's called thebestoftoday@gmail.com. Go and send your complaints about Nathan and how offensive he is over there. Okay, well, I just because since there's so many queens and this is not a full episode and we have a lot to do, I kind of want to jump in. I kind of want to talk about it. Now, I will say, so there's a difference of opinion in terms of the order. So in the order, like for instance, producer Zach gave me the order and that they walked into the workroom.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I did the order in terms of the order that they were on Meet the Queens, the videos. And I think you also did it in the order they walked in the workroom.
Yes.
Since I'm hosting the show, it's going to be in the fucking order they were on Meet the Queens. However, what I'm saying is I would listen along with those videos.
Mm-hmm.
Pause right here. I should actually pull that up and look at them because sometimes I don't have a reference for them. I'm like, I don't know who you're talking about.
I know.
It's really sad to say, especially like with the Black queens or Latino queens. Actually, with all the queens, there's always like the white queens, the Black queens, the Asian queens, and the Latino queens. They're all, especially when the cast just comes out. That's just who they are for me. Let me see. Season 16 Drag Race. Okay. All right. Let's start with a mandatory meeting. She is, I believe she's from LA. I'm going to pull the notes up with her. But before I talk about her, Nathan, what were your thoughts on mandatory meeting?
I hate her.
You hate her?
I hate her guts. I don't like
Why
the
is
name. I don't like that breastplate where you can just see this like huge chunky like line around her neck.
Mm-hmm.
What? And like the outfit she's wearing for when she walks into the workroom, like it's not even that much cleavage. I was looking at her and I was like, you could contour that on, babes. You don't need this ridiculous breastplate. I think she's gonna crack as soon as she's safe because she thinks she's gonna be good and she's not gonna be good. She's not my kind of queen.
By the way,
what
I
about
want
you?
the record to show you did not look at the spoiler Reddit, did you?
Oh yeah, no, I don't know anything.
Okay, good. Look, now, by the way, this is where the looks are crazy because the look I'm looking at is the one for Meet the Queens.
Oh yeah,
which I'm fine. I'm kind of a fan of,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think the look is good. So I guess you're talking about the workroom. Maybe it's good. You're giving
That's
the
right.
workroom opinion. I'm giving the Meet the Queen opinion.
I feel like all the Meet the Queens looks were sort of camouflagey, right? Like, was there a theme?
There
for
was
it?
a color scheme. It seems to be like camouflage, olive greens, patent leather, black, browns. That's what they wanted. There's one queen who decided not to listen, but yeah, and spikes. A lot of spikes.
Yeah,
too.
a lot of spikes. So sorry, I cut you off. What do you like her? Is a mandatory meeting?
No, she's annoying. She's really annoying. Anyway, she's 26 years old from Los Angeles, California. And then she implies that she got the name because she thought she was being fired and then she blew the guy and got a promotion. I don't know. It was very
I don't know. What do you think of these names that are just outright puns but not that clever? Like sometimes I like it, but in like this, like a mandatory meeting, I don't know.
I'm going to tell you something. And don't take this the wrong way. It seems like a name you'd hear on Drag Race Down Under.
100%.
Yeah, it seems like a Drag Race Down Under, they do these kinds of names.
This would be Karen from Finance's like drag daughter.
Yeah, or like Keita Mean, you know?
Yeah.
So like you don't really see them as much in the US, or if they are, they're a little bit more pop culture-y. This was just a mandatory meeting, and yeah, it's a stupid name. But I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of the names on this season, I'm like, did you choose the name in terms of how easy it would be to say?
Not on how to spell. Like, how many like apostrophes are there?
A lot
It's
of
too
apostrophes, and like it was a lot. And so I was like, I had to like reference the Wikipedia. I don't know, but anyway, so a mandatory meeting. So you liked or didn't like her? No, I'm gonna tell you hated her, right?
I hated her.
Yeah, I'm giving a toot for her runway, but I'm giving a boot for her personality. I was not a fan. She was really annoying a lot. I think she's this season's. Who would be annoying but they look good?
Lucy is all I could compare it to.
She's this season's Christian Ochoa.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Next, we have Dawn. She's 24 years old. She's from New York City. She describes herself as the ethereal elf goddess from Brooklyn. And she says she eats a pickle every morning. What's your hot take on Dawn?
I kind of liked her. Like, at first I thought, oh, she might be, like, good for a few episodes and then turn boring. But I think she might actually be secretly funny. And I don't know, I kind of liked the freckles on the face, makeup look. Like, I think she has promise to be at least entertaining until, like, maybe mid-season.
This is one where I actually was like, oh, it's she. I'm not, but everyone calm the fuck down. Because what I'm going to tell you right now is I don't think that they're really this. And it's very hard to decipher from a Meet the Queens, and their personality could be anything. I am talking like, is this what the casting director is trying to sell us? Does that make sense? Like, for instance, Geneva Carr, like I said, and we'll talk about her, I think, next, actually. I believe they genuinely are trying to remind us of Mistress Isabel Brooks. And I got the sense that the casting directors were trying to remind us here of this Willow Pill. And so I'm not saying she is Willow Pill. I don't think she is anything like Willow Pill, but sort of the energy that the casting and the way that they're presenting her is are they trying to remind us of Willow Pill? So that's what I got from this. For her look, I didn't like the look, actually. I strangely found it, except for I like the little elf aspect of it. It just didn't really, it was all olive greens and blacks and silver. There was nothing that necessarily popped, which I feel was kind of a problem.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, like, as soon as she gets the critique being like, you know, we've seen the elf shtick, show us something else, show us sexy. I don't know how she's going to be able to cope with that. If she rises to the challenge, great, but who knows?
Well, that's the thing is like, I found her kind of like forgettable, if I'm being honest with you.
I found a lot of them to be forgettable.
Yeah, but again, and by the way, people get really mad that we're being negative. I don't think we're being negative. We're judging this. If it's really, if anything, it's a critique of the Meet the Queens videos. Because I've said horrible things about people from the Meet the Queens video before, and I love them.
Yeah,
you know. So I think what we're really critiquing is the way that the person comes across on Meet the Queens. Maybe what's her name? Dawn. Maybe she's amazing. I don't know yet. I'm just judging for Meet the Queens, and on Meet the Queens, the fact that you eat a pickle every morning, if that's the most interesting thing about you, we have a problem.
Yeah, what do you think of that? Would you eat a pickle every day?
I do like pickles, and often, I'll be honest with you, I kind of get it, because, you know, if I take a nap, one of those super long naps where you wake up and you're like,
oh yeah,
right, I'll eat a pickle. And that seems to somehow like wake me up. I don't know what it
picks
is.
you up. Okay.
Yeah. So like, I like me at the dillier the pickle, the better. That's all I got to say. All right. Next we have this Geneva Carr. What was your hot take on Geneva Carr, Nathan?
I didn't really have a hot take on her. She seems kind of positive and fun. I, tend to enjoy a pageant queen with big hair, and that's about all I can really say about her.
Yeah, it's one of these things. Well, first of all, I liked her look. I thought the look was really fun. It looked really good. She looked on point. Everything was on point. Hair, makeup, everything. Was a fan. That said, she could go either way with me. It's one of these things. It's hard. Like I said, it's hard to tell from these Meet the Queens videos, lest we forget that Silky Nutmeg Ganache was super entertaining on Meet the Queens, and everyone thought she was just crowned her already. And then she gets in the show, and within episode 1, everyone's like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, and I loved Selena Aristides last year through the Meet the Queens, and I think that sort of wore off as the show went on. But I was still clinging on to that Meet the Queens like admiration I had for her. I was blind.
Yeah. Well, on this one, it's the same thing with this chick. You know, I'm like, she could either be amazing, a la Mistress Isabel Brooks, or she could be really annoying, a la Selena S. Titties. She doesn't seem to be yelling all the time. That was the thing with Selena. Selena from the get-go was like, I gotta get these chonies in a butt. And you're like, okay, just take it down a notch, okay? I wasn't necessarily a fan of that. Any other big thoughts on Geneva Carr?
No.
Oh, I didn't give her info. She's 30 years old. She's from Brownsville, Texas, but she's originally from Mexico. And then I haven't been saying the catchphrase that she said, but Zach wrote in here, Viva Mexico Cabrones. And she's in cabrones, which is like I guess it's offensive. It technically means like goat, but it means like assholes or something. Not assholes, literally, like, like what up, jerk offs, kind of thing.
Oh.
Now I'm gonna get a correction about what it really means. Anyway, she's also, I didn't know this. She's Drag Race's first Mexican-born queen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and her name comes from somebody giving her advice with an accent saying, you need a car. So Geneva Carr, like a person with a thick Spanish accent saying, you need a car.
And that's the kind of pun name that it's at least not so on the nose, like a mandatory meeting. I can live with the Geneva Carr.
Yeah, you have to think about it a little bit. All right, next we have Hershey Liqueur Jeté. She's 31 from Los Angeles, California. She's the sister of Cornbread, the snack Jeté. And her name comes from the pronouns her, she, like her, she pronouns. So that's where her name comes from. She describes her drag persona as a 47-year-old woman with a pixie cut, gold tooth, 4 kids, and drives a bus downtown and a Nissan Altima at home. What was your take on Hershey Liqueur Jeté?
As soon as I heard Jeté, I thought, oh no, she's going to be a fucking nightmare. But then as I watched the Meet the Queens, I was like, okay, I actually think she's interesting. She's natural on camera. I think she's going to be really enjoyable and could be a contender for like one of the top spots.
Okay, very good. What do you think of the look when she walked in?
I don't really remember it.
I have here, I gave her look a toot. She looks great. Yeah, she has a lot of personality, and Rue kind of likes that sort of, the way she described her brand, that sort of plays into what Rue likes. And she seemed fine. It's hard, again, I'm not going to say this is the last time I'm going to say this. It's hard to tell from these things, but yeah, there's a lot of personality on this video. The look is on point from what I can see. And so I'm going to say there is a possibility she goes very far. Yes.
That's what I'm thinking. And I also think she's got an element of ridiculousness about her because she says like her sisters told her to change her name if she wants to be taken seriously. And so she chose Hershey Liqueur Jeté. Like, that's what you picked to be serious?
I know.
So funny.
All right. Next up, we have Megami. Megami is 30 years old from New York City. She's just called herself a goddess among men. What was your take here on Megami?
She seems kind of funny. She'll have some interesting looks, like that cosplay thing. And I don't know. She says she's nervous about lip syncing, so that makes me worried. Like, I think as soon as she's in the bottom, she's going to go. But I actually liked how they asked each queen what they're nervous about. And I thought it was interesting how a lot of them admitted to actually being nervous about something. I was like, oh, God, big mistake, queens. But yeah, this isn't an interesting episode if I'm just going to say I don't really have that many thoughts, because I don't really have that many thoughts.
Hey, look, that's what, if you don't have thoughts, you don't have thoughts. All we're doing is giving our hot take. That's all we can do. And again, and I'm not going to say it again, but you know how I feel. But I agree with you. The look is fine. The look is good. She's clearly an experienced drag queen. So the look shows that. But the energy, the charisma, everything she's giving is telling me early out, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, I see that.
She lacks confidence. She's apologizing for being old. She's, she can't do, she's telling you all the things she can't do and what she won't be good at. And not telling you like, here's how I can, and there is a balance, and we'll see some of the people have this balance where you're not overconfident to it seems like you're hiding something, but also you're not lacking confidence to the point where you are self-effacing. And she seems to be closer to the self-effacing route, where she's already apologizing for all the things she can't do, and that's not a good start.
And I think these cosplay queens are maybe so used to being like a different character. Like if you're at Comic-Con, you look amazing, but you're not yourself. You're not your drag persona. And so I don't know if she'll adapt to the environment where you need to be a big personality on your own standing.
That's a very good point.
I don't know.
All right, next we have Maya Iman LePage. She's 34 years old from Miami, and she's obsessed with doing flips. But she's scared of thunder. Malaysia Baby Doll Fox, that front runner, encouraged her to apply for this show. What was your hot take on Maya Iman LePage?
Well, I hate her name. It's like a cat walked across the keyboard. But I think I'm going to love her. I didn't so much like know her as in like I knew that individual person. I've been to that Palace restaurant bar where she works in Miami.
You have?
Yeah, and I knew there was a queen that did all the flips. And so when I went, I was like keeping an eye out for this flipper. And I don't think she was there that night because I didn't see her do any flips. But I was like, I don't know, that was a few years ago and I already knew of her. So I think she might be secretly really good. And
interesting.
I also think she might not be good at the competition, but she'll be good at winning a lip sync, perhaps.
Oh, I see.
I mean, she said she's nervous about sewing challenges, and it's like, bitch, like, go take a lesson. But no, I like her. I like the vibe. I'm excited.
I don't like this look. The breastplate is horrible. I don't like it. And I'm going to tell you something. I have here in the notes, because I'm watching this. I should probably turn the captions on, because I say here, too nice, early out.
Oh.
Too nice, early out. No chance.
So I've got a different take completely.
Oh,
I think
really?
she's going to go pretty far.
Look, guys, I don't need to tell you guys, anyone who listens to the show for a long time, how fucking wrong am I every single fucking time about, like, it'll be like, just take it to the bank. The who was the one I was like, oh, she's gonna, like, I put her in the top 3. The one from
Amethyst?
Vegas. No, the one from Vegas. That Kimora Black. I was like, oh, take it to the bank. Kimora Black is gonna be in the top 3. Kimora Black. And the one too that's from the House of Aja, like I got it wrong in Candy Muse, but then the other one, whatever, the Brock Ally. I think I said she would go really far too.
Oh yeah, I can't even remember her name.
Well, that was because I saw Aja and company at Mickey's, and she was actually a really good performer. But this Candy Muse, man, she couldn't be bothered. Candy Snooze is what I called her. And then finally we have Mirage. Mirage is 29 years old. She's from Las Vegas, Nevada. She calls herself the legs of Las Vegas. Yeah, so what did you think of Mirage?
She's going to shit me to tears. I didn't like her. It seems like she's resting on being shady. She's like overcompensating by being a bit of a bitch. And that can be fun, but it didn't come across great in this Meet the Queens. And I don't think she's going to be any good.
Yeah.
And did you notice she also said fishy a few times in the Meet the Queens? I thought we'd stop saying that.
Did?
Yeah, she said it quite a bit.
Well, here's the thing, too. She said cross-dressers and all this stuff. But here's the other thing, too, is she even admits like that she doesn't really have a lot of experience. She kind of only really did it because people should tell her like she wasn't good in her first performance. It was all kinds of like she's trying to make it seem like, oh, what's the attitude I would call it? Like, I'm better than this. I'm slumming at being a drag queen, you know, but I'm figuring it while I'm here. And, you know, and we'll talk about this when we see with other queens. There are quite a few queens who, there's a couple at least, and I think she could be in that group, who the reasons they got on the show, it's weird, are coming from later after season 10. No, before season 10. But like, they're not just all saying season 5, season 6. Some of them are saying like season 9, you know, and you're like, oh, we're starting to see the evolution where it's even more self-aware than what we were. It's not just people who like fell in love between seasons 3 and like 7. They're saying like, oh, I started watching in season 12. And you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, someone was like, oh, I remember in high school watching Sasha Velour with the rose petals, and I was like, in high school?
Yeah,
Jeepers.
Yeah, and also she's the person who like didn't really completely follow the color scheme. She's wearing like a bright, almost like neon green. The whole outfit is, which I think could have worked, but the whole outfit, there's no camouflages, no grays, no blacks, no patent leather. It's all, and that could be, people might see it as a good thing or a bad thing. It didn't work for me. She seems kind of like this season's Christian. Another this season's Christian.
And can I just pause for a moment and compliment you on talking about the looks so much? Look at you go.
Well, people don't know this. You know, in the hiatus, I went to fashion school.
Oh, good. So now you can comment on it. That's
great.
Yeah.
I'm an expert. They even said, wow, like, we've never seen a student come into the fashion school like this and just know so much. I'm like, oh, well, I do a drag race podcast. And they're like, oh,
is that why you have measuring tape around your shoulders and like a needle in your mouth?
Measuring tape around my shoulder. Yep, it's exactly
that
why.
Explains it.
The people don't know. I've edited it. Oh, I can't say edited something. I've edited out me sewing. I'm working on it. The queens have hired me.
Yeah.
To like craft costumes for them. And that's sort of how I've been spending my time making a little bit of extra money. Is I've become a dress designer.
I love that.
Thank you. And on that note, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the rest of the drag queens.
What does Colgate mean by live life to the brightest? Could it be a rich glass of red sipped inside a Parisian cafe on a snowy night when my gaze is met by a tall, mysterious... I mean, brushing is directed with Colgate Optic White Pro Series toothpaste gives you a visibly whiter smile in just 3 days, so you can live life to the brightest and finish that glass without worrying about teeth stains. Colgate Optic White. Find it at all major retailers.
This episode is supported by FX's Clipped, the scandalous story of the 2014 Clippers owner's racist remarks captured on tape and heard around the world. The series charts the tape's impact on a dysfunctional basketball organization striving to win against their reputation as the most cursed team in the league. Starring Lawrence Fishburne, Jackie Weaver, Cleopatra Coleman, and Ed O'Neill. FX's Clipped, streaming June 4th, only on Hulu.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. From the launch your online shop stage, all the way to the we just hit 1 million orders stage. No matter what stage you're in, Shopify's there to help you grow. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/special offer, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/special offer.
And we are back. We are back, and we're going right back into covering the queens. We've covered the first half of the season 16 queens, and now we're going to talk about the second half. First, we have up Morphine Love Dion. She's a makeup artist, 25 years old, from Miami. She calls herself the Latina goddess of Miami, Florida. And she's been in a few music videos for like Maluma and Bad Bunny. And her name came from a Lady Gaga music video that I'm sure everyone will tell me on Discord what video it is. What were your thoughts here on Morphine Love Dion?
Well, she seems like a little bit of a dum-dum. Like she was saying she named herself Morphine after that. I think it was Born This Way. And she didn't actually know what morphine was. And she's like, and then I had to Google what morphine was, but that was my name already. And I was like, who's buying this story you're selling, doll? I think she's a little simple. I think she's going to be boring. Yeah. And I don't have high hopes.
Look, here's the deal. I don't like it when, first of all, her look is not good. It's essentially, which I feel like when you see this on Meet the Queens, this is their whole thing. I feel like it's just a corset with a bunch of medals on it. And I'm like, okay, not good. Then she was talking about how like she's so fucking, like when, I don't know how to explain it. Like, if you're talking about how beautiful and gorgeous you are and all this, I'm like, I don't
Show me,
buy
don't
it.
tell me.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm looking at her, I'm like, she looks like every fucking chola that I see going out for a night at the Midnighters reunion at a concert or something like that. Or like I don't know. Wasn't into it. I gave her look a boot. I did not like her Meet the Queens look at all. I was not a fan. And I saw her personality and everything. I saw her as just mediocre.
Yeah, same. So like I watched the Meet the Queens a few days ago, and then this morning I watched the entrances on the TikTok, and I was like, who the fuck is this? I've never seen her before in my life. And then I checked my notes and I was like, oh no, I did see her before.
Yeah, she'll get by the first few episodes. I'm even predicting she won't even be in the top. She'll just be safe, right? For the first few episodes. And then it'll be like episode 5 before Snatch Game, somewhere around there, 4 or 5 or something around that, where Rue will be like, who's this bitch? Right? And then that's when we'll see her in the bottom, and then she just goes home.
Can you imagine if she does make it to Snatch Game? She'll pick the most random internet-based character that no one will know.
That's a good idea. We should do that for this half. Who will they do a Snatch Game? Who do you think she would do a Snatch Game?
It'd be, like a TikTok beauty influencer that I've never heard of.
Oh, because she's a makeup artist. Yeah, she'll do like, what's that, Patrick Star or something?
Yeah, someone like that. Wait, is Patrick Star, isn't that from SpongeBob?
That's what I say. And then people are like, no, that's a makeup artist. I'm like, oh, okay. And then they get all mad and stuff like that. I think she's going to do like Kendall Jenner.
Oh, yeah.
Like someone boring that you're like, who cares about Kendall Jenner?
Uh-huh.
Or, if she were to do maybe a better one, but even though it's hard to sell, but I don't think she's that good, is like a Trisha Paytas.
She could flop a Trisha Paytas. She wouldn't be good.
Yeah. No, she's not going to be good. I think it's hard to do Trisha Paytas. But anyway. All right. Well, next we have Nymphia Wind. Nathan, what was your hot take on Nymphia? Oh, let me tell you about Nymphia Wind. She's 27 years old, originally from New York City. Well, she lives in New York. She's originally from Taiwan, actually. And she describes herself as conceptual, cultural, and yellow. She's also another first queen. She's the first queen to come from Taiwan. And she moved to New York, but she wanted to have more access to drag opportunities. All right. Your thoughts on her?
I loved her. She's my top pick. And I don't know if I'm just saying that because she was the most different and she stood out the most. But I thought she was really refreshing. And I think that mix of kookiness, fashion references, and her cultural background, I think that's a really great mix for this show. And I think that could take her really far if she does that really well.
Yeah.
So I like her.
This is a good sign. I was a big fan as well. I gave her look a big toot. I really liked it. It seemed very refined, very tasteful. I was a big fan. And the way she carried herself, great charisma, very confident, very confident. I even liked her answer because obviously the question is, what would you do if a queen came for you? And she was just like, I'd be quiet and give. Then she acted out a side eye that she would give them.
Yeah.
And I really thought she has what it takes to go all the way.
Me too. And what did you think of her workroom entrance with the bananas? Did you pay much attention to that?
No, I didn't. I don't remember the workroom entrances but I do remember that one. I didn't know that was her. That was stupid. Now that I think about it.
I loved how stupid it was. She peeled a banana and threw it on the workroom, and then she walked on and slipped on it, which is just so stupid. It's kind of brilliant.
I guess. Yeah, but she's not afraid to make herself look stupid, which is a really good
That's an important
attribute
quality
to have on this show. Yeah. People think the big mistake you can see in these Meet the Queens is when people come on and they think that this show is completely about the looks, completely about being fierce and all of that. Sasha Colby didn't win because she was fierce. I mean, that was part of it. She won because if you think about it, the most memorable parts of Sasha Colby is when she allowed herself to look stupid with that fakakta neck cracking and all that was the part that probably really sold her as the winner, were the parts what she did in her comedy sketches, because we knew she could be fierce. We already knew you could do that. And so that was an important thing. And I think Nymphia Wind seems like someone who could go very, very, very far. All right, next we have Plain Jane. We're going to do a lot of talking on Plain Jane. But right now, she's 24 years old. She's from Boston. She is actually of Russian heritage, which I'm going to bring up pretty soon. She actually is Russian. Her parents were born in Russia. She was a competitive ballroom dancer as a child. And the name comes from her love of airplanes, but also Jane from Tarzan. What were your thoughts on Plain Jane?
So I saw is she the one with the controversy? We'll get to it, but I sort of judged her not knowing that kind of. So this was my take.
She's from the controversy.
You're right. Yes. So my take, ignoring all of that at first, was that she seemed a little gross. Like, she's talking about shitting herself on the runway. She watches cartoon porn. I was a bit like, yuck. But then the more she talked and she started
wait. What's your problem with cartoon porn?
Well, I feel like she's just saying it for outrage
for shock
factor.
value.
For shock value. And I don't actually believe it. If you do love cartoon porn, go off, sis. But the way she was saying it, I was like...
Look, wait, hold on for a second. I don't seek it out. Let me tell you this. I don't seek it out.
But if it pops up...
But if it pops up, there's some... have you watched some of these cartoon porns?
Well, if it pops up, you do watch it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm playing that Jedi game on the PlayStation, Jedi Survivor, I think. And the main character that you have to play with, like, he's not really my type, but I've got him in a little, like, tank top right now, and he's got these, like, biceps. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I wonder if there's porn about this guy. And I haven't sorted it out, but maybe someone can send that to me.
I'm 100% sure there is.
Yeah.
Isn't there some sort of rule? I can't remember what it's called. I think there's like one of those like internet principles or something like that. But if you can imagine it, there's a porn about it. It's like a rule like that.
Yeah.
So I imagine that there is.
Yeah. So I thought, first up, I was like, she's being too much. But then she kind of won me over. Like, when she started making fun of Katya, I was like, all right, you've got some promise. And I think she has the potential to go far, banking on that side of her personality.
Yeah, okay, we'll get to the sexual assault allegations in a second. But it's gonna start a rant from me too, and it's the whole thing. But what I'm gonna tell you is, let me see, what do I have in my notes here? I gave her a look at Toot. I thought it was really cute. It's a full patent leather outfit, but also like a stewardess, which I think was really I liked. I actually think she could go very far. She sort of has, again, like we were talking about with Nymphia Wynn, sort of the gravitas, if you will, that it takes to go far. This is all a guess. She could go up first. Who knows? And based on that, she also said something here. Now, Zach, the producer in the notes to me, mentioned that he thought it was a joke. I didn't take it as a joke. But in her Meet the Queens video, she calls out Katya and accuses her of cultural appropriation. Now, Zach points out that Katya is also from Boston. Plain Jane is from Boston. Katya's from Boston. So perhaps they know each other. I'm going to assume it's not a joke. I didn't get a sense of joking. Did you remember this part, Nathan?
Yeah, I thought it was a joke.
Oh, you took it as a joke.
I thought it was like shade that's so disguised in seriousness. But it's like, do you really think Plain Jane's talking about cultural appropriation? Like, I don't know.
But don't you think it's a valid... Let's pretend it's serious. Let's say you're culturally Russian. And Katya, who isn't Russian at all, is doing this character and pretending to be a Russian hooker and all that nonsense. Do you see that as... Can white culture, Russian culture, can that be appropriated, and would that be offensive to some people?
Yeah, I can see that. And I've always thought it was a bit odd how Katya's so obsessed with Russia. And it's like, Russia of all places in this climate?
Do you think it's maybe it's conceivably upsetting, like someone like Plain Jane, that she has to go on and watch these annoying people, someone like Katya, pretend to have their accent and make fun of their country and just constantly bring it up, do podcasts about other podcasts from that country and just say that they are experts at doing the accent and talk. Then they think that Outback Steak. I'm sorry, like there's some sort of Russian version. Do you think that that's cultural appropriation? Do you think that's offensive?
I think a reasonable person could find that sort of thing offensive, but then also you could just have a sense of humor about it. And I feel like Plain Jane is not. From the 5 seconds I've known her talking about cartoon porn and shitting herself, I don't think she's that serious.
Okay. So immediately when Meet the Queens was announced, immediately on social media, an allegation of sexual assault was levied against her. Now, they were very specific, and I'm going to read it because I know I skimmed it at first. Okay. I knew about it existing, but, I skimmed it. And so I'm going to read what Zach wrote word for word because maybe he has a better take on it. But he writes, Plain Jane has been accused of putting their hands down the pants of an audience member without their consent. This is happening on Twitter. I'm not going to call it X. JK from Dragula Season 5 has corroborated this report, indicating the accuser is his friend. So he said the accuser is his friend. I cannot find a comment from Drag Race or Associated Press. So Drag Race has not commented officially. And I don't know when Zach wrote this, but within the past week, the video of this event has been released. And all I'm going to report, I'm going to try and play it safe here, is that the Reddit reaction to this overwhelmingly has been, oh, this is a big nothing burger.
Oh, okay.
And it's since then, I think actually in the past day or two, JK has come out and been like, oh, well, let's just put all bygones be bygones kind of thing. And it's sort of like, I wouldn't say walked it back, but is now trying to sort of like downplay his role in this.
Oh, okay.
And so it seems like even in the court of public opinion, once people saw the video, that she seems to have escaped this scandal. What I will tell you when I saw the video and my interpretation, Joe Betance's interpretation, I was not there. I don't know how the person felt or anything like that. And I think this is why it was labeled a big nothing burger. It just seemed like even tamed by like a drag standard. She's the person who has her hand down their pants is clearly actively participating and there's implied consent the way this person's participating. And it's just like the basic thing, like, oh, I'm going to put my hand down your pants kind of shit. And look, obviously nobody feels that there's a place for sexual assault. But what I will say, and I actually, before I came on the air, I talked about this with some drag queens that I know, because I wanted to confirm, because I have a feeling of this. And it's something that I wanted to go off at length about, either in something written or maybe even here on the podcast. Maybe I can still do both. But I have this hot take, if you will, that drag, go with me on this. I'm going to take it step by step. That drag is inherently scary and offensive to cisgendered straight people.
Mm-hmm.
But the way they handle it depends on their political leaning. So that conservative cisgendered straight people, they're frightened by drag.
Yeah.
And so what they try and do is ban it. But the left, straight cisgendered people on the left, are also don't know what to do with drag, offended by drag or scared by drag. Uncomfortable is a better word. Uncomfortable with drag. But the way they respond is to take the balls out of it, to take the teeth out of it, if you will, to make it silly. Because if you make it then it's not scary anymore.
Mm-hmm. So
what they do is, like I've expressed this before. Does a drag queen have a right to read books to kids? Sure. That's stupid not to let them, right? On the other hand, I'm like, why the fuck is a drag queen? Fuck kids. Drag, when you turn, what the left is trying to do is turn drag and drag queens into clowns.
Yeah.
And a drag is something appropriate for a children's show because it makes them uncomfortable. So when you take the subversion out of drag, then it's just clowns. You've made them into clowns. Now, by the way, if you're a drag queen who that's what you want to do, God bless you, right? But don't do that to the whole art form. And so I think drag, in many respects, whether it's politics, sexual politics, actual politics that we know about, or anything that's going on in the world, I think drag is a subversive art form meant to hold a mirror up to society by making fun of it, like turn it into satire. And that you can, and it's the same thing, I hold the same thing true for stand-up comedy in a live form. You can, and there's anything should go at a drag club. Now, that said, obviously you shouldn't sexually assault people. There are social parameters. Mm-hmm. But I think we've gotten to a place where everyone's just too fucking sensitive. If you are in the front row of a drag show, there's a good chance, a better than even chance, that someone's gonna touch you, do something to you. If you don't like it, either don't go to the drag show or sit in the back. Mm-hmm. I was at the front row of a drag show, and this Morgan McMichaels put her fucking boot right up against my chest and leaned into me and stuff like that. Maybe what if I didn't want a fucking boot in my chest? Well, then that's my fucking fault for sitting at the front row of a goddamn drag show.
Did she listen to the All Stars 3 recaps and she knew who you were and she was like, I'm going to
maybe that's what it was.
This fucker in the throat.
Yeah. I'm going to kick him in the throat. Yeah. So, and then she shot a ping pong out of her ass and into my face. So what I'm saying is, and I have more to say about this, but I don't want to take the whole show on this, is from what I saw, the limited video I saw was honestly standard drag fare. Now, by the way, for people who don't remember, I've gone off on this, who was the chick from season 1 who took that person's money?
Oh. Chanel?
Chanel, right? Yeah, you shouldn't be taking fucking people's money. That's you shouldn't be doing that, or grabbing their personal belongings and doing stuff like that. But like, if you're a willing participant, which the person appeared to be a willing participant, then you are at a drag show, and that's what you can expect. Anything, and it didn't seem like sexual assault. But putting down your hand at a guy's pants at a drag show, as maybe that would be offensive at anywhere else, but I think at a drag show, I think that's on the more tame side of things, and that's the way it should be.
I just think we need to just make it a blanket rule for everyone. Don't touch drag queens, and drag queens don't touch your audience. Like, that's just the way the future's going. Like, we just need to all agree on that.
So you don't think that this should have happened? But again, we don't see the beginning of the interaction. We're just seeing the middle.
Yeah. I mean, she could have asked. I haven't seen it. I don't know. I'm thinking of Nina West licking that guy's foot. It's like,
that's
surely
gross.
at some point, you ask for consent when you want to be too risque.
Yeah, but here's the deal with Nina West. I will say that's a very good example, because this Nina West, every time I see her and she's on this fucking hairspray and shit like that, right, going around, and now because she's one of the people that wants to be the clown that reads to kids, And I just think she's sitting there fucking sucking on some guy's toes, and it's gross, And I'm like, and you know what? But you know what I do? I go, I'm never gonna go to a Nina West show.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just not gonna go to a Nina West show. Sounds gross. I don't want to see her sucking on someone's toes. And then I don't remember the thing with the like sucking on. I think there was some sort of weird thing where she would just do it, right? I don't think there was a consent thing. I didn't see the video of this guy with the hand down the pants. I saw the video of that, but I didn't see the beginning of the interaction. But based on the little I saw in the body language, it seemed like the person whose pants they were seemed to be giving a big time consent. All right, let's move on from here. Do you have anything else to say about this?
Well, yeah, I think you're right. There is sort of a social contract when you're going to a drag show. It's like if you go to a Bianca Del Rio show, you're going to get made fun of. You're going to hear offensive jokes. You just got to live with it. And I also think you're onto something with that like wider sociological like trend. Mm-hmm. But also, I feel like, you know how they say, drag is art, blah, blah, blah. Not all of it's that artistic, and sometimes you just want to go to a drag show where they just do bingo, they make some 69 jokes, and you go home. Like, it doesn't need to be transgressive. It doesn't need to be like, I'm making a statement. Sometimes you just want to have fucking fun. And can't we just have fun anymore?
No, I know. Can't we just have fun? No, look, here's the deal. You're right. And this is where you get into sort of the stickier, the trickier parts of nightlife. Which is, there are people who really do sexual assault and I'm 99% sure there are drag queens who are using it because they want to grab some hot guy's balls or, doing creepy ass shit. Right. Yeah. But it's you have to learn where you're going, what's going to like, so I don't think you're going to see, like, you're right. If you want to see drag, but you don't want to see that, then go to a drag bingo. I think this is something you're going to see at 1 a.m. at a seedy drag bar.
Right.
I don't know. It's open for discussion. If I offended you with anything I said, by the way, once again, the official Afterthought Media complaint line is thebestoftoday@gmail.com. And by the way, we intentionally set it up that you can be as mean, rude, and nasty as you want to be. You want me to fuck off or do anything. Go at it. We want everyone to be able to express their voice. So send that to thebestoftoday@gmail.com. All right, next we have Plasma. Plasma is 24 years old from New York City, but she sees herself as a 65-year-old woman inhabiting a 24-year-old's body. And she kind of sees herself giving 1950s Hollywood glamour. What was your take on Plasma here, Nathan?
She's going to be a punish. Like, I thought, oh God, another musical theater wannabe dropout. Like, I can't. I think she's going to be so annoying. I think she's going to be dull. I don't like this character. It's been done by better people. I don't need to see Plasma's take on it.
Have we, we've seen every season or so, not every season, but every other season, a couple times in a row, we've seen this before. where it's the like, I'm doing old Hollywood glamour. Strictly, that's what I'm doing. Have any of them gone far? I know you want to say Jinx Monsoon, but Jinx Monsoon was doing something more than that.
Mm-hmm.
But like Max, the Iranian Harry guy, whatever her name was. We've seen this before. Robbie Turner sort of had sort of that feel too. Do any of them go far besides maybe possibly Jinx Monsoon, who I think does more than that? But what do you think?
Yeah, not really. And it's like, if you're going to come in and say you're doing that glamour, like, why are you wearing that pleated skirt that doesn't look like even? Like, you're not giving me glamour.
You know what she's giving me? And it kind of reminds me of, what's the guy's name? The trans man? Gottmik.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'll tell you why. She's not Gottmik in any way. But what I'm talking about is, one of the accusations for Gottmik is that Gottmik came from an affluent family who was able to sort of bankroll his appearance on Drag Race. And I'm getting the sense too, because she says that her parents are super for it. And for being 24, this look seems expensive. Are the parents, mortgaging their house so she can, have a designer design all these looks? What do you think here?
Are you talking about the Meet the Queens look, not the walk-in? Because I can't quite picture the Meet the Queens, but the walk-in look I didn't think looked that flash.
Oh, really? The Meet the Queens one is sort of flashy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's Nepo babies everywhere these days. And, like, if I was getting onto the show, I'd be asking for money. I'd be walking around with, like, a donation tin. Like, I'd be scrounging to try and build up enough coin to buy some nice outfits, because I'm not going to be able to make them myself. So, you have to play with the tools in your tool belt. And is it fair? Like, maybe not, but that's just the way of the world.
That's just the way of the world. Some things will never change. All right, well, I gave her a toot on her look, and I actually really liked her personality on Meet the Queens. You didn't? It's okay to disagree. We'll see how far she goes. I don't know how far she'll go. We're going to find out later. Next, we have Q. What were your hot takes on Q there, Nathan?
Get a real name. That's what I think.
She's 26 from Kansas City, and she says the Kansas City drag scene is very competitive because of the lack of bars and performance slots. She also makes her own look. I think she's really good at sewing. But any other thoughts on Q besides getting a new name?
I think that's her saving grace if she can sew. I think I mean, I don't know if any of the others have really said that they are a sewer. So for her to say that, I'm like, okay, thank God we've got someone in the can. But I think she's a bit boring. I think she might be a bit filler.
Oh, really? I didn't get boring from her, but I did get weird.
Well, yeah, if you name yourself Q, you're going to be a little weird.
Yeah. I like the look that she had, and even though I thought she was weird, even though I thought she was annoying, I think I've learned to not underestimate the Kansas City Queens. They seem to do fairly well. Now maybe she won't. Maybe she'll be the one exception. Like remember with Bosco? No, wait, Bosco did well. Who was the one that was like Bosco's friend? And this came. Irene Dubois.
Oh, Irene, she did not do well.
Yeah, so we had this run of like Seattle Queens always doing well, and then this Irene Dubois comes on, and it was like au revoir Dubois. By the way, I will be at the Haha Cafe in Lancashire for the special Christmas Eve show, and you can see me there.
What's the Christmas Eve show called?
Ha 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 or ho ho ho.
It's great.
And they only hired fat guys, and we all had to dress like Santa.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, it's really weird.
So is Kansas City, is that like a drag hub? I don't know too much about it.
Yeah, it's so funny. I was actually talking to Jimmy Anti, drag queen extraordinaire originally from the Missouri area. And he was talking about you'd be surprised at what a hub Springfield, Missouri and Kansas City are.
Great.
Yeah. Okay, next we have Sapphire Cristal. She is 34 years old. She's from Philly. And she says she has a 6-octave vocal range. Any thoughts on Sapphire Cristal?
Yeah, I really liked her. I like old school drag mixing in with the new school. And when she said it was like her 11th time auditioning, I was like, okay, she's been around the block. And I think she'll do quite well. And I'm excited to see more of her.
I like the look. It is very old school drag look, but she's serving it. Here's the deal, and this is my problem. She describes herself as a theater queen, and I'm just like, ugh.
Mm-hmm.
I hate theater queens. And so maybe she'll do well. I will say the theater queens who really are theater queens tend to do well, at least through the middle. So maybe she'll be fine, but yeah, just for me. And then finally we have Tsunami Muse. She is, hold on, let me find her. She's 33 years old from New York City. She's the daughter of Candy Muse, so
God help us.
she calls herself a fashion girl. Yeah. And she's even a self-described knockoff Naomi Campbell. She's originally from Panama, and she's nervous about singing. Your thoughts on Tsunami Muse, Nathan Patrick Brown?
I'm nervous about the muse of it all. Like, do we really need another Candy on this competition? Mm-hmm. And she seems to be all about the look. That's sort of my one takeaway. It was just like, she's a look queen, which is great. But I wonder how she'll cope when she has to do anything but.
Yeah, acting challenges, comedy challenges.
We forgot. Yeah, who would she play in Snatch Game? Tsunami. How are we meant to be saying that? Is it just tsunami spelled with an X?
Well, the word is tsunami, but she spelled it with an X or something, right? Yeah, with an X. I guess she's saying it's tsunami or I don't know what she's doing.
Who would she do? Candy.
Tsunami Muse. She would play. God, that's a tough one. Oh, Kerry Washington. And not be funny because Kerry Washington's not funny.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she'd wear like the white turtleneck or white pantsuit that she would always wear in Scandal.
Yeah. That would be her. Okay, well, she's the last drag queen. The Candy Muse threw me off. Once she said she was Candy Muse's daughter, I was like, I wouldn't be proud of that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I gave her, and I didn't like her look either. It seemed a little harsh. I don't know. That's the only way I could put it, but harsh, severe. All right, Nathan, you and I are going to pause. But then what we're going to do is we're going to rank the queens.
Sure.
Now, you and I will pause and do that, but you're listening at home, it's going to be like no time passed, but there will be some definite time has passed. And so, all right, I'm going to do that right now. All right, Nathan, we are here. We are reading our predictions based solely on Meet the Queens, understanding that we get this wrong almost every year. Right? I think there was 1 year where I think I nailed 3 of the top 4 or something like that. But like other than that, I generally just fail miserably. So that said, how did you organize it?
I just went bottom to top, but I can do it in quadrants. I can do whatever. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So here's how I did. Maybe you can match it. I did, because it's a weird number this year. It's 14. I did the bottom 5, the middle 5, and the top 4.
Yep, I can do that.
Okay, so why don't you give us your bottom 5?
Okay, so I have A Mandatory Meeting, Mirage, Morphine Love Dion, Plasma, and Megami.
Okay. My bottom are Megami, Maya Iman LePage, Mirage, Q, and Tsunami.
Oh, okay.
Okay. What's your middle 5?
My middle, Q, Tsunami Muse, Geneva Carr, Dawn, and Plain Jane.
Interesting. I have Geneva Carr, A Mandatory Meeting, Hershey Liqueur Jeté, Morphine Love Dion, and Saphira Crystal. So now here we go.
Oh, okay.
Who are your final 4?
I have Saphira Crystal, Hershey Liqueur Jeté, Maya Iman Lapage, and Nymphia Wind.
We only match on 1.
Yeah.
My final 4 are Nymphia Wind, Plain Jane, Dawn, and Plasma.
Wow. Well, you love a white queen.
No, because I think Nymphia Wind's going to win.
Watch, we've both put Nymphia Wind at the top. She'll be first out.
Yes, I'm telling you, she will be the first one out. And that's how it'll go. Yes, it's going to be 100% what's happened there. All right, well, Nathan, very good Meet the Queens episode. Very good Meet the Queens episode. Okay, guys, so when we come back, we're going to be back. You'll get it in the public feed January 8th. Yeah, January 8th. If you want it earlier, join at patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia and you'll get it that weekend without commercials. It's usually a longer show. Not always, depends, but a lot of times it's a longer show on Patreon. So go to patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia, and if you want just Between Us Girls, you can join the executive tier, or you can join on the Apple Podcast. But we'll be back, and we're going to have the first 2 episodes are going to be me and Nathan. But then after that, we're going to have some rotating co-hosts, and it's going to be really fun, a good time, and all that jazz. Nathan, any final words here? No, but let me go down. Let me give a detailed analysis again of each queen.
No, but I am. It might not have sounded like it, but I'm very excited for this season.
Yeah, this one. I'll be honest with you. And I wanted to tell you this privately, but I'll tell you this now, Nathan. I want you to keep in mind that we didn't do it this season because this season we had to be analysis, right? I mean, this episode.
That's my drag name, analysis.
Yeah, that's a good one. This episode is about analyzing the queens. We don't know anything about them. But this show is a comedy show first and a recap show second.
Got it.
So let's focus on the comedy. It's going to be a very funny season, even though the cast at this point seems sort of underwhelming. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Drag Race Recap. Be sure to join us right at the top of 2024 as we discuss, dissect, and deconstruct each brand new episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 16. So for Nathan, Patrick Brown, and myself,
Viva Mexico, cabrones!
Thank you for listening to Drag Race Recap. Have something to say? Leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/afterthoughtmedia. You can also email us at dragracerecap@afterthought.media. For more Drag Race and LGBTQ content, support us over at patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia. Nathan Patrick Brown has another podcast. It's called Bravo, Bravo, Effing Bravo, and it's available wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow Nathan on Instagram at NathanBrown90. Follow Joe Betance on Instagram and TikTok at Joe Betance. Special thanks to these expensive tier Patreon supporters: Alex S., Anonymous, April Pacheco, Astute Girl, Brad Coley, Phil Sket Pony, Doofus Maximus, E. Smith, Elizabeth Timmer, Emma, Humble Pie, J. Thomas Plank, Jesse Harris, Kathy Zender, Lauren Eckerd, Lucy Carrasco, Luke Stammen, Mike Yeager, Nikki Baker, Poppy Woods, Ricardo Herrera, Robert NYC, Sarah Yu, Robin Eggenberger, Runner Brandon, Tom Bombs, Travi Cosmos, Troy Anderson, and Zach Nelson. Drag Race Recap is an Afterthought Media podcast.